Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Need more energy throughout the day? Looking for a kick to your workout? RockinThatIDLife.com has you covered with delicious flavors you've grown to love in tropical fruit and mixed berry, but now fall in love with the new fruit punch and orange flavors. Try them all at RockinThatIDLife.com.
Realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage LLC makes the moving process easier. Work with a realtor who plays and studies the game and will work as hard as the boys on the ice to get you the best deal. Check out Mike on the web at strikewithmike.com and jumpstart your move today. That's strikewithmike.com. Welcome to episode 19 of season 11. This is episode number 395 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated. Do you see a wedding ring on my finger? Does this place look like I'm married? The toilet seat's up, man. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, rockandthatidlife.com, strikewithmike.com, and centerizebrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at letsgoblues.com for the very best in St. Louis Blues themed t-shirts at a fair price. It is Wednesday, February 1st. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. To interact with the show on social media, our handle is at LGB Radio. Just do a search, you'll find us, I promise. And if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, buy a t-shirt from the shop, and do whatever you can do to help us. Appreciate it. I'm Kurt Price. I'm my co-host for the big show tonight are Bill Day and Jeff Ponder. The agenda for tonight's show includes a discussion about the Blues losing 5 in a row and their playoff hopes have just about fizzled out. We compared this year's defense to the horrendous D of 05-06. The Blues are linked to Edmonton's Jesse Puljajarvi and Bally Sports to file for bankruptcy. Brett Hull's dad and former Hartford Whaler great Bobby Hull passes away. And the NHL US TV ratings dropped 22% on ESPN and TNT, or do they? All that and more on this week's episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Howdy, fellas. I can talk this week.
Oh, hey. Good to have you.
Yeah. It's nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Not just chirping us from the chat.
Not just chirping from the chat, not just kind of being a third wheel, not saying a whole lot during the show that one week, because, yeah, it's been a rough go the past month. It's tough.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, we missed you last week, and 2 weeks ago you were here, but it was clear you were struggling, so sound much, much better now. So hopefully that continues.
I'm feeling much better now.
Good. That's from something, but I don't know what it is.
It is from Night Court.
Wow. You're talking about for all the young kids out there, there used to be another show called Night Court.
Right. It was Harry's dad, I believe, was the old... Wasn't he the old dad on Addams Family?
Yeah.
And that was his line. I think it was from Night Court, or maybe it was from a different show that he was in. It was from his line. He delivered it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Night Court.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good reference. Have you seen the new Night Court by chance?
I have not. John Larroquette's in it, right?
Yes.
Rest in peace, Marquis Post.
And Harry Anderson.
True. Right?
Yeah, that's I caught about 5-10 minutes of it last week, and I laughed and plan to binge it at some point.
Yeah, that is a show that just missed my age group. My brother, however, is your guys' age. He's 47, and he will still tell you to this day his favorite show of all time. So I remember seeing it a little, I remember Bowl. I remember, everybody of importance. I remember certain scenes, but it was never really my thing because I was just a little too young for it. So I had to ask him, I'm like, have you seen the new one? Is it funny? Is it worth checking out? And he said, absolutely. I've been laughing every time I watch it. I will stick with it. And I'm like,
okay.
You never hear that about show reboots.
No.
Right.
So Night Court, I'm happy to hear that.
The original Night Court was one of my favorite shows growing up. It was
for sure.
Channel 11 had it. They ran it in reruns at night, back to back with Cheers for a while.
Oh yeah.
And that was great. So I watched it a ton that way. Also watched on Channel 5 when they had it on Thursday nights, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think
So-
it alternated between Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
And it was usually on right when I would get home from hockey. So I loved it.
Is
But
Bull still
Richard
alive?
Mole,
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
he's still alive, but I'm sure he'll get a cameo. There was a big grassroots thing on Twitter last week. I guess it was grassroots. I don't know, but a thing about bringing Marshall Whitfield back, or Marshall Warfield.
Warfield,
Sorry.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she was all for it. So, but John Aston was the name of the actor.
I'm
That played
hoping.
his dad.
I want to look up Marshall Whitfield. I'm hoping she's a black woman. I'm hoping, just because you you could make the joke that they all look the same, and you just got names mixed up. It's funny.
Well,
Already
no-
going there. We're what, six
Yeah,
minutes into the show?
I'm gonna look it up. I'm right now. Marsha.
Already calling Bill a racist. 6 minutes into the
Marsha
show.
Whitfield, actress. Well, it came okay.
It's
Marsha Whitfield,
Warfield.
IMDb. I know.
Did you mean Marshall Warfield?
No? Yeah, right. I think she is African American. That's funny.
Wow. Damn it.
Bill.
Let's see. Let me see. Yes, she is African American. That is correct. There she is. She was a comedian. Anyway, no,
Yep.
I need to check that show out.
Yeah. Is
I'm
it
excited.
just started? Is that right?
Yeah, it's only like 3 episodes in, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they did first week. They did 2 episodes, and I think they're 4 episodes in now.
You know what?
It's third week.
You know what else is 3 episodes in? You guys watched The Last of Us?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
It's good, huh?
I played the
Oh.
game. Absolutely loved the
Okay.
game. So
I never played the
I
game.
can't-
I have
I-
not
I'm-
watched episode 3 yet.
Oh, I have.
Whoa.
It's good.
It's a good one. And let's just say this. Take that, you homophobic bastards. Man, have you seen that getting raked over the coals by homophobes online?
No, I
Whoa.
when I saw that episode, I'm like, yeah, I didn't notice, I didn't
Such-
pay attention, but I was like, that didn't surprise me.
Bill, I won't give anything away, but it is such
I won't give it away, but here's the plot.
No. It is such a powerful, beautiful episode, and
Yeah.
it was
It's
so
good.
well done. Apparently, there's a 2-hour cut that the
Mhm.
director has, and I'm hoping they release at some point.
Oh wow.
Man, it was really well done.
Yeah, it was an hour
Yeah.
and 15. I watched it last night.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
great stuff.
I'll be watching it probably tomorrow night in lieu of hockey, since there's no hockey tomorrow night. So
Right.
Isn't this just like the
Yeah.
worst time ever? I hate to
most
say that because
most years I would agree with you, but this year I need a break.
No. I agree with you with the Blues, yes. But usually I am still like, wife goes to bed, whatever time. I'll stay up and watch whatever late games there's on. 6 o'clock, I'll turn on an East Coast game. I still like watching hockey. I'm with you on the Blues, 100%. I need a break. I said this earlier today on Twitter that it's time. This is like a work vacation for me. That it's like, get away from it, decompress, forget about it for a little while. Of course, here we are doing a podcast about them. But that's what I needed. But for hockey, though, I still love watching hockey. So it's so odd to like not just have a game on that I just turn on at night. It's weird.
It makes me irritated to watch better hockey teams play on TV, and know that, and I'm just watching the game, kind of like, yeah, they're better than the Blues are. Yeah, that team is too. Switch channel. Yeah, they're better too. They look better, and that irritates me. And it's probably, this is the earliest in a long time, the earliest in a season that I have switched gears, and been like, yeah, they're not making the playoffs. And I was like, if they can figure things out and clean some things up, own zone wise, a couple weeks ago, I was like, if they can do that, they were a few points out of the playoffs, and they could go on a run and get in. It's not a big deal, but losing 5 straight and just the play is not getting any better. You could argue it's getting worse. They haven't shown anything in their own zone to make me think they're going to turn it around this season.
Well, and for me, you mentioned, this is the earliest in a long time you've already kind of given up. It's funny you say that because you think back to like 0809, 2009, 2010. 0809 is a bad example because they actually did make the playoffs. That was that ridiculous run they had.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, like, even then you were still like, well, 51 games in, they've got 30 left. Go on a little bit of a streak, you never know. So you had that hope. Even in those dark times, I'd say the last time that I truly felt this team is done at 50 games was probably about, I don't have the exact year, but I'd say like 06, 07, somewhere in there. Probably the year before they picked Pietrangelo at number 4, right? So that's probably the last time that I've had this feeling. Because, yeah, even in the dark days, late in the season, you'd still be like, this team can do it. They got young guys like Oshie and Berglund and guys that can step up and play well. You never know. I'm not feeling that this year.
See, and the reason why I'm generally an optimist, right? With things, I look at the best that a team can play, and I'm like, okay, if they can maintain a high level of that level play that we've seen this season, over a long period of time, they can make some noise, get in the playoffs, and maybe have a little bit of fun in the playoffs. They haven't shown enough of high level play this season to make me think they can sustain that, even though they had a nice 7-game winning streak earlier in the season. But they're going to have to rattle off like 12 in a row at some point here to even get back in it. So I'm not. I mean, anything's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I've changed gears. I'm totally just watching as a hockey fan, just enjoying hockey, not so much hoping they beat this team and worry about the standings and all that stuff anymore. I'm
trying to get myself back in that mindset that I had back in those late 2000s, late zeros. I still don't know what you call those. Back in that mindset of just watch the game, watch for player development, see how guys do. I'm trying to get myself in that mindset, but it is so hard to switch that gear because, yeah, last year I didn't think they were going to win the Stanley Cup, but I was like, this is a playoff team. We're going to enjoy some playoff hockey. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what they can do down the stretch.
That first round was
that
first round.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
as frustrating as that first round was for a number of reasons, there are some stories that came out of that first round that were fantastic. Yep. Great conversation stories. I mean, the fucking water bottle alone was worth the Blues making the playoffs.
Yep.
I loved it. It was great. So that's just in a nutshell why I always root for the playoffs. Just stuff like that, to have those stories and those experiences.
At this point, I'm just hate watching. I mean, my optimism has waned, every year.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a curmudgeon before too long. But this season, it's just there's nothing to suggest that this team has it in them in its current configuration to figure it out and even do a couple of win 4 lose 1s to get them back into position. I just don't think they have the chemistry or frankly the chutzpah to do it.
The chemistry is what it is to me, because individually, as crazy as it may sound, individually, the defense to me I think is decent, but you put it all together, it just doesn't work. Krug should be a good defenseman. Falk, for the most part, has been a good defenseman here. He's struggled lately.
Not lately. Yeah.
Not lately at all. Yeah. But for the most part, he's been a good defenseman. Parayko, he's been up and down here. He's been bad the past couple of years, but he should be. He doesn't. If he's not number 1, he could be a serviceable guy. It's Mikkola should be serviceable. I like Rosen. Yeah, and the defense should be okay. Not great, but it should be okay. It should be good enough. No, it's not even close. It's just like they don't work together at all.
No.
I like
Chemistry is not
Matt
there.
Harris's comment here. Seasons like this make me remember that I'm a fan of the game and the Blues. If the Blues are bad, I love that I can still appreciate the game.
Yeah.
And that was the argument I used to get into. Again, not to reference too much the 2000s teams, but like that's what I used to tell people. And they're like, "Why are you still watching this dog shit?" And I'm like, "Because it's still hockey. It's still I want to watch the game. Plus, it's nice when they actually do get a win. How exciting is it? Like, oh my God, they actually beat. Like, I remember that the 05-06 year, Vancouver had a very, very good team. They beat them, what, 4 times, right?
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
4?
yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And it was like, that's like the only 4 wins of the season. Fuck you, Vancouver.
Let's see. Joe Bray's videos in the YouTube chat says, "Happy Groundhog Day." Speaking of happy days, happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day.
Yes.
Today, February 1st, 2023.
Anyone listening who is a girl or a woman in sports, it is your day, and I hope you had a good one.
And I'll add, happy Spunky Old Broads Day. That's a thing today.
Is that a thing today?
It is. It is a thing today. And today is the day we celebrate 2 of our dogs, what we think would have been their birthday. Sheldon is 9 and Gidget is 16. And she, by definition, is a spunky old broad. So,
well, happy spunky old broad / birthday to her.
It's also National.
Let her know you said that.
It's also National Dark Chocolate Day, National Texas Day, which didn't make any sense to me. That's weird. National Get Up Day, National Baked Alaska Day, National Serpent Day, and National Freedom Day. Isn't every day Freedom Day in a free country? Come on.
I feel like it's Freedom Day every day. In my
I feel
house.
like National Freedom Day was pushed through by, I don't know, quote quote patriots in government.
It's Freedom Day for me because I'm free to not wear pants, so I'm not.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And Matt Harris says, "Happy Mardi Gras." Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, it's close.
In St. Louis, what, 2 weeks from? No. 3 weeks from now.
Whatever.
I don't know. I looked at it. I saw it just last night. The official beers of episode number 395. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle is CPrice12. Jeff's is JPonder94. Bill's is Billy Blue Note 33.
Should we change it up since the Blues suck?
You want me to go first? I've never.
I was gonna say, what we've never done is have Kurt go first.
I never go first.
Let's have Kurt go first.
Seeing as my radical stag beer movement earlier in the season didn't seem to work too well. I'm going with the Cocoa Bites Triple Chocolate Milk Stout from Four Hands Beery in St. Louis, Missouri. The pairings for this beer are comics and video games, and it's
nice.
It's a play on the Count Chocula cereal, or I guess either
Count Chocula.
Yeah, it's got a mix between Count Chocula and Cocoa Puffs because the cereal itself looks like Cocoa Puffs, but the graphics want to say Count Chocula.
Yeah.
So
and I did that. I drank one of those while eating a massive bowl of Count Chocula, and it was amazing.
That's great.
It's the perfect pairing.
I have some chocolate chips right here to kind of snack on one. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We'll go to Bill next.
Well, keeping with the chocolate theme, I have KBS Chocolate Cherry. So this is the latest of the KBS variants. I got the chocolate. Not really. I'm not. I had to check my words there. It's the cherry's not there.
Pop cherry.
So that always bugs me when a beer advertises chocolate cherry and you can't taste one. That's annoying to me.
Yeah. I usually that's kind of my palate range is dark chocolate and fruits, and no, not picking it up. So still a damn good beer, just Not as advertised.
Okay. Well, Jeff, what is your
Not-
beer as advertised?
Not sticking with the chocolate theme. And here's something completely different. We're going with the it is as advertised. It is the beautiful Citywide.
That looks like a
From
short
our
can.
friends.
I don't know why.
It's a standard can.
You just have big hands.
I do have big hands. Look at these fucking monsters, man.
Under
They
the
are
giant
huge
hands.
hands. Yeah, got big old meat paws there. So this is an American Pale Ale. If you haven't had it, it's beautiful. It's from Four Hands. Again, I drink a lot of these. Just a good chugging beer, sipping beer. Good for winter, good for summer, good year round.
We will discuss the Blues' recent skid on the other side of this break from our friends over at Rockin' That Idea Life. You're listening to Kurt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio.
Every beer league hockey night, I grab my hockey bag and sticks and throw them in the trunk of my car. And the very next thing I do, I mix up a boost of energy courtesy of rockinthatidlife.com. It's formulated to break up its delivery in 3 ways, which helps me get through all 3 periods of hockey. Phase 1 provides a rapid onset of energy, concentration, alertness, and motivation. By period 2, I'm receiving a dose of sustained energy, increased focus, metabolism, cognitive function, performance, and feelings of well-being, which I need with the way I play. In Phase 3, I'm getting fatigue protection without jitters and crash, an elevated mood, and a reduction of fluid retention to help me make the big play when it counts. This same triphasic approach helps me when I drink it during work hours or simply just for a pick-me-up when I need it. Try one of the 4 energy flavors by visiting rockinthatidlife.com, but make sure to email Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order. That's rockinthatidlife.com. So we just heard from our friends over at rockinthatidlife.com, our friend Dustin Paul. Again, make sure you email him over at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com. Tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. A couple of Valentine's deals going on here that we want to mention. First of all, the big one, a DNA and ID nutrition. This is true self-care is more than buying yourself flowers and chocolates. It's understanding your DNA, become the best version of you with the ID Life DNA kit and unlock a personalized nutrition and workout plan. So right now it is $40 off the DNA and you receive $50 when you make the purchase towards personalized vitamins. And it's instant too. So if you were to buy the DNA, buy this deal here, you instantly can spend $50 on personalized vitamins, goes right into your cart, comes right off, no hassle at all. So that's a very nice deal, helps you get an understanding of what you need to do to get yourself in the best shape of your life. And then they also have the Clean and Lean. The path to a healthier you starts with the ID Life Clean and Lean Pack. Help boost your metabolism and energy while supporting your digestive health. Typically, that runs at $117. Right now, it is retailing for $89.99. So it's a great. It includes energy, which I drink every damn day to get myself motivated, get myself going every morning. And they got a Cleanse Plus in there that helps cleanse your body, help you lose that weight that maybe you put on it during the holidays. And then, of course, the Lean as well helps with that. Again, normally $116.99. Right now, we're retailing for $89.99. Both these deals end on February 28th at 11:59. So you got the rest of the month to think it over if you have to, but you don't have to think much. Just go out, make that purchase, sign up, email Dustin, get that extra 10% off that goes with this as well. And you're saving a ton of money and getting some great product as well.
That's a good time to get in on that if you haven't tried the product yet. On a nice deal like that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's the key, man. Like, obviously, we want you to buy this stuff anytime because it helps us out. It helps Dustin out, who's a great friend of the show. But, I mean, if you can get in with deals like these, this is the time to do it. If you haven't done it yet, you've been thinking about trying it, this is the month. Let's do it.
Joe Brady's video says, how many times have the Blues not made the playoffs in our lifetimes? 5 or 6? ? That's crazy. And, you know, Blues fans in general are pretty lucky. I mean, we got the one cup now, thank God. But playoff hockey's fun. And I think Blues fans kind of take it for granted a little bit because we're almost always in the playoffs. We missed it in the middle of the O's, as Jeff called them, there a few times, and then we missed it the year before we won the Cup. But that's it. I mean, before that, it was 25 straight years in our most of our lifetime. So.
I just counted
25 straight
six
years.
times in my lifetime. So it should be the same for you, right?
Yeah.
6 times.
And Mr. Bray answered his own question and said 6 times.
Yeah, 6 times since 79.
Since 79, which is in our lifetimes.
Right. And so part of me is a little concerned. Only because if this team is not very good, won't make the playoffs, and if they're kind of stuck with the core of this roster for a little while and they don't make it for a while, you never know when you're going to get back in the playoffs either. You got teams like Buffalo who haven't made it almost a decade, right?
It's 11
It's 11 years now. So over a decade. So that's Buffalo. That's a great hockey market. Fantastic hockey market. So you just never. This is a mid-market team. So, and thankfully our owner spends to the cap, with how long is that going to go? If we're rebuilding, that's not going to happen. Not going to spend to the cap for rebuilding. So, it could be a while before you get back. Granted, now this market probably not going to handle a team missing the playoffs 5 or 6 years straight. That'd be bad for this franchise.
Well, let me ask you this question, in kind of topical here because of what Bill Day was wearing tonight. With the MLS franchise coming in town, is this not the worst fucking possible time for the Blues to start sucking? Like, I'm not saying that, them missing the playoffs 2 or 3 years is going to hurt too bad. I think as long as they remain somewhat competitive, they'll be fine. But you got to think Blues management right now is like, oh shit, the wheels are coming off right at the wrong time because everyone say, let's flock to that soccer franchise. It's actually going to be playing better than anything the Blues can do right now.
Well, that remains to be seen. But yeah, the entertainment dollar is only so many, so much money people have to spend on entertainment. And if the Blues aren't playing very well, a lot of people could shift over to soccer. So that wouldn't normally do so if the Blues are playing well. So that is a valid thing. But I will say again that it's been stated before, and Armstrong just pretty much came out and said recently, not too long ago, that this market is not conducive to a team to go through a full flat out rebuild that could take 5, 6, 7, 8 years before we turn things around. It's not going to happen. At least they're not going to try and do that unless they absolutely have to, I guess. But
right,
they're going to remain competitive at all costs.
Right. The case study was, coming out of the lockout, the Blues were the 2005 lockout. The Blues were abjectly terrible, and it took until 2011 before they were consistently selling out. Right, that was a full rebuild, and it took until then for them to be consistently competitive. And Tom Stillman's not going to tolerate that at this point.
No, I will say though, with that, there's a little bit different situation because the owner fucked over the city with this team, and there was some animosity there with the fans hating the whole thing going there. So that was a little bit different.
And let me add to that too, Kurt, before you continue your thought, the fact that it was a lockout too. My brother is a season ticket holder, and in 2005, 2006, he said, "Yeah, the Blues suck, but I don't care. I'm not a hockey fan anymore because of the lockout." And I think a lot of people felt that way because it was, they don't care about us. Blues suck. Why would I start watching? Like both those things combined played into it.
So Joe Bray says, ask Detroit and Chicago about playoffs. They have a hard time stiffing playoffs anymore. Detroit's been a while for Detroit, and Chicago, it's been, the Chicago made the bubble year. That didn't count, right? No. So if you don't count the bubble year, it's been what, 5 years, 6 years for them?
Yeah.
Something like that. Right.
And about the same for the Canadiens. And Canadiens made the final.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I do want to real quick. We should have mentioned this at the top of the show. Real quick, this is from Austin Lynch. Real quick, wanted to shed some light on the Moiha Commissioner Mike Bell, who passed away this past week. Big part of St. Louis hockey. So sorry to completely shift gears here, guys, but I just wanted to call that out as soon as we could, that Mike Bell, big part of St. Louis hockey. Condolences to him and his family, as well as a lot of his teammates I know that have played with him through the years, worked for him. Just want to give a shout out to a St. Louis hockey legend who recently passed away.
This is a pretty negative episode. If you look
It
at the
really
topics,
is.
there's a lot of stuff on here. It's either bitching, complaining, negativity, or whatever. It's going to be. That's why I kind of thought this episode would be a little therapeutic. You can kind of rant a little bit about all kinds of things. With the 4-2 loss in Winnipeg on Monday night, the Blues have now lost 5 straight games, and that started off with a 5-3 loss to Chicago. Kind of fitting that Chicago seems to have broken or been the straw that did in the Blues this season, because the Blues took a turn for the worse. If things weren't already questionably bad already, things took a turn for the worse for Chicago. They went up 3-0 in this game, and of course the Blues lost to a rookie goaltender in his first NHL start. To his credit, though, he beat Calgary 5 days later, stopping 34-35, and he's 2-0 in the season. And when I saw that, I was like, well, Chicago, they can't start him too many games this season if he's going to play well, because they're in the running for Bedard.
Hey, they were playing great hockey there for a while. I haven't paid attention the last 4 or 5 days, but they were. I think they won 5 of 6 coming into that game versus the Blues.
Yeah, they lost the one right before playing us, but it rattled off 5 in a row before that. So, and speaking of Connor Bedard, if you're looking for hockey to watch, NHL Network right now has the Regina Pats on.
Nice. If I got the NHL Network, if it's only available in the top tier packages and all these, or if you want to stream it.
Do what I do.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to tell you what I do.
Next loss was Buffalo 5-3. Buffalo goes up 3-0 in this game, just like Chicago did. And it's 4-0 before the Blues even get on the board. The Blues do score the next 3, though, in this game, make it close. Buffalo gets into that goal. 5-3 Buffalo. Next loss was embarrassing. 5-0 to Arizona. Not only did we lose this game 5-0 to one of the worst teams in the NHL, we lost Robert Thomas through the All-Star break because of a puck to the junk.
Yeah, that so first of all, Matt Harris was at this game. Sorry, buddy. That's terrible.
You know what, though? I envy the small arena NHL experience that he had.
I bet it was fun.
So, yeah,
I do. But yeah, did anybody else, and I feel like I've been pretty naysaying on the Blues broadcast team. Anybody else find it extremely offensive that Kelly and Payne were making jokes all night about Thomas taking a shot to the junk?
Oh, come on.
Come on, man. That is painful.
If I know it is, but every guy laughs and snickers when someone else gets hit there.
I didn't laugh one bit. I'm like,
well,
poor fucking Robert Thomas.
Everybody wants you to be okay, but they laugh.
Right. Oh. When it happens, it's funny, but when the guy doesn't come back and you're still laughing about it, that's pretty tasteless.
Well, they wanted so bad to laugh about it.
Right.
But and they you could tell they were kind of snickering as they talked a little bit, and they wanted for him to be okay. And they even said that they want him to come back so they can make fun of it a little more.
Right.
But I mean getting hit in the nuts is just
the dude's out of the game.
I know. When they found that out, I think their attitude changed a little bit.
They made another joke after it was official he was out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very tasteless.
It's tasteless, but it's still. But everybody does it.
It's a very touchy topic.
A guy gets.
Did I just make a joke? Damn it!
I mean, when a skater racks himself on a rail, people laugh. It's people.
But laugh. In the moment, it's a guy you know. I mean, I don't know. I just found it very tasteless.
No,
I'm with you in the moment. Like when you see it on the replay and you're like, oh shit, like whoa. But like when he's gone, he's having trouble getting to the locker room, and then he doesn't come back. It's time to stop. It's time to let it go.
I
it
thought
Rich
maybe
Perron?
ruptured testicle. I thought ruptured
Yeah.
testicle. That's what we're gonna say. The report's gonna be.
Yeah, Rich Perron was the guy, right?
Yeah, Rich Perrant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Every time that I bring it up, I think Jeff Sargent, but it's Perrant.
yeah. Blues legend, backup goalies of the time: Jeff Sargent and Rich Perron.
I don't know if I ever told the story about when I in warm-ups, former co-host of the show, Justin Wilson, used to be goalie for us in high school. And I always used to, all my shots were always waist level. I always put them there because we had one guy who was really good at deflecting them right there. So last shot of warm-ups, I wind up. I think he's looking at me, but he's looking beyond me. He doesn't see me shooting the puck right at his waist. Hits him right in, like, square. I mean, you know, Bill, you get hit right there in the cup. You still feel it. The cup protects you some, but you still feel it. Got him right there. And he, goes down, and, like, I thought he was going to throw up. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, I thought you were looking right at me. He's like, no, I was looking at the other goalie. And I'm like, oh, God. Oops.
Yeah, my last practice with a competitive team, I got hit so hard. Like, the hardest I've ever been hit in the junk. It was a slap shot from the sideboards, and it caught me off guard, and it was a slight angle. Oh my God. Like, the only time in my life I was retching like I was gonna puke from getting hit there.
I've been pretty lucky. There's not too many moments in playing hockey anyway, where I can remember getting caught there and just going down in pain. I don't have a good story. Sorry, not in hockey.
No, it's fine. I got one that I forgot my cup the one time I played in practice. It was a practice. Forgot my cup, and I said, you know what? It's practice. I'll be fine. Guy blasts a slap shot. It gets deflected. It was slowed down significantly, but it still caught me right on, let's just say, right into Mr. Frank, not the beans. Yeah. And, I thought I went down on the ground, and he skates over. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I don't remember it, but apparently all I said was, I'm never having children.
You missed them both the first time, and then you got them both the second time. Next game, Blues lost 4-2 to Colorado. Colorado goes up 3-0 in this game. That awful trend continued. The Blues annoyingly come back in this game again to make it 3-2, but allowed an net goal for the 4-2 final. And then the lost on the other night to Winnipeg 4-2. Binnington stood on his head in this game. Maybe his best game of the season. Amazing. Man, I thought it was great. Fantastic.
So again, I hate, and I know we got kind of a segment, actually one of our old segments coming up, right? Social media fails.
A little.
There was something, and listen, I'll be honest now. I didn't watch the game live. Like, I watched up and literally I stepped out of my car, and I know I said this on Twitter, when Alexandrov scored the goal to make it 2-0. I literally stepped out of my car a second after he scored that goal to go play in my hockey game. So, and then I came back, I saw the final score. So at the time, I hadn't seen the goals that were given up yet. But I saw somebody comment, those shots were probably very good, and, things happen, blah, 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 whatever he said. But he said, this is where you expect your goalie to come up big. And
he had been all game long.
Exactly. And that's how I responded. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
He literally made 3 game-saving saves in the first period alone. Not to mention having a good second period, too. And
we talked about this.
He was ridiculous. And that's what I said to him. Exactly what you say. Is I'm like, you can't pick and choose when the goalie is supposed to come up with massive saves and which ones it's allowed for him to let the puck go in. Like, he made ridiculous saves all game, and you're going to fucking get pissed at him because he didn't make them when the Blues needed him to again?
This game's a perfect example of that because he was amazing, and he made a number of saves that were crazy, and those were big moment saves. and then one finally goes in, and people like forget all the other ones that he did and just focus on that one, thinking, oh, see, he can't stop the tough one. It's like, what are you
Right.
talking about?
Yeah, the whole first and second period, all I was thinking was, if they score one, we lose this game, because it's going to go the other way, right? It's the psychology of the team changes, right? At this point, your team's like, oh, this guy's invincible, he's got it. We don't have to worry.
But-
And the
but when-
second he gives up the goal, it's panic.
Yeah, but when Alexandrov scored
Mhm.
to start the third, 2 minutes in, to put those up 2-0,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts? Your thoughts are like, oh my God, that's the cushion goal we need in this game, the way he's playing.
Nope.
No.
Well, no,
right.
Now we were getting outplayed bad the whole game,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
giving up chances like crazy. But I'm thinking, it's got to be a deflating goal for Winnipeg to give up, early in the third period, to go down 2-0 in a game where you can't beat Bennington. Now you got to score 3 times on him in one period, which the Blues love to give up 3 goals or more in a period.
Oh yeah. That's
Right.
their favorite thing to do.
And they didn't need to wait an entire period. They just needed to wait 7 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they, for the 23rd time this season in 51 games, they gave up 3 or more goals in a single period.
Yeah. Just
Fucking
right.
ridiculous.
Let's not waste time on everything, but Justin Falk. That was top 3 giveaways on this team this year, and that's saying a lot.
Terrible.
Other than the goaltending that has been fucking worked all year, is there not a player right now that needs a break more than Justin Falk?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
he looks
absolutely
bad.
He looks worn out.
I hope he is in Aruba right now with his feet kicked up
on the beach, relaxing, getting some vitamin D.
Knowing him, he's probably back in Minnesota.
I was going to say, he's freezing his balls off right now.
Hunting or ice fishing.
Yeah.
Justin Falk's biggest fan, right? Ash Gibbs.
Yeah, and he was at the game. Did you see him?
He was at the game. They even talked about him on the broadcast.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any tweets from him about the misplay that Falk had in the third period there.
He did have one.
Did he? Okay. All right.
After the game.
I stand corrected. Okay.
This game. This is the one. Listen, Chicago and Arizona. Yes. Terrible losses. Chicago, somewhat, I'm like, okay, they've been playing well. Okay. Arizona, no fucking excuse. If you get beat 1-0, I'm still like, okay, what the fuck? 5-0? That team, has they scored 5 goals all year? I mean, good fucking God. Come on, guys. But this game, and I know it's Winnipeg, I know they're good, but this is a game where you are playing terrible. But Jordan Binnington, your goaltender, has stepped in and is stealing you this game. And you expect when they're up 1-0 going into the third period, the talk in that locker room has to be, guys, our goalie is standing on his fucking head. Can we at least just get the puck out of the zone every chance we get? Like, let's not turn the puck over. Let's play smart. Let's get out of here. Let's fucking sneak out of Winnipeg with a 1-0 win. Is that not the conversation? And then they come out and have a fucking dog shit third period. That was when I was like, okay.
After going up 2-0.
Yeah. And they go up 2-0 and then just play awful.
Well,
awful
and
hockey.
the thing with Falk's turnover was that he had options on left and right side. And he chose to try and flip it over everybody. He tried to flip it over everybody.
And they always make the wrong decision.
And it's like, what? Dude, come on. One of the biggest problems with this team this season is an own zone turnovers. And you've got a guy who has been your best defenseman this season overall with the puck. You think, okay, this is a play that you should make in your sleep. Even if you wanted to go this route, the riskier route, and go over people and flip it out, fine, make it. He flubbed it. And it's like, fuck. And it's just the way things are good. It's just the way this season's going. You just kind of, I saw it happen and I was like, you've got to be shitting me. And then the game's tied just like that. And then, what was it, 21 seconds later? They bring the puck in, left side, centered across off Schen's leg, and by Binnington leads. Yeah. And then now Winnipeg has a lead just like that. Boom. It's crazy.
Right. And then they
so-
pull the goalie. And did you think anything else was going to happen?
No.
No, because this team can't fucking play with a pulled goalie.
You know what,
No.
though? I will give Berube credit in this game for I thought he pulled the goalie at the right time in this game. I thought his end of the deal with pulling the goalie was fine. When he pulled him, we had possession. It wasn't too early. It was a minute something left, and we had possession. Okay. And he pulled the goalie. That was good. Fine. He didn't pull it in a trailing by 1 with 2:50 left in the game, and we dump it in. Like you have to do with like 45 seconds to go, right? Like a desperate situation. No,
Let
but
me ask you.
So he did it fine.
Let me ask you guys. Did I said this and I stand by it, and I know recency bias, and I can't remember every goddamn game Jordan Binnington's ever started. Was this, to me, this felt like top 5 games in Jordan Binnington's career. I thought he was ridiculously good. And the fact that they still lost the game speaks volumes about this team.
Yeah. Yeah. Top 5 might be difficult because of the run that he had in
that run was
2019.
crazy.
I mean, think back
this
to
fits right
the
into one of
1-0
those
game
games.
against Tampa. Right. It did. It was vintage Jordan Binnington through 2 periods, and his team just shat all over him.
All game, not even just in the third. All fucking game.
All season. This game. This third period was a microcosm of most of the season. How he's playing well or well enough in most games, and they just give him 0 support.
Mm-hmm.
The Blues have allowed the most empty net goals in the NHL at 17. Montreal is second with 15. Florida then with 14. 17 empty net goals. Boston is leads the league with 3. So
man, that number of empty net goals is how many goals that Colton Parayko has directly caused in the last week.
Bad teams like Chicago and Arizona, they've allowed 9. 17, almost twice as many.
Well, you got to figure Chicago and Arizona
Columbus.
They're not close enough to the game to pull
That's
their goal.
I guess you have to look at this with a grain of salt. That's a good point. Game situations, if you're in a lot of 1-goal games before, late in the third period, you're going to pull your goalie more, I guess, if you're trailing. But still, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, like you said, game situations. Look at Boston; they've only allowed 3. That's because they've lost 9 games this year. It's ridiculous.
Detroit's only allowed 5.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
but that's all David Perron, baby.
Yeah.
All David Perron.
Yeah.
No,
If we had David Perron, the Blues would not have allowed any empty net goals.
Right.
It's David Perron. It's
we have
Jake
10
Wallman.
more wins. Yeah.
It's
Sundqvist.
Oscar Sundqvist, Robbie Fabry, and
somehow
Billy
Husso. Yes.
It's
still Billy Husso.
Not a single number 1 defenseman in that list either. That what this team needs. Not a single number 1, 2 defenseman.
Jake Wallman. That'd be your number 1 defenseman right there.
Yeah, right. All right, so we've lost 5 straight, 7-10. Own zone play is atrocious. We've played more games than the 4 teams we're trailing, so we can't quickly make up ground with games in hand. On most nights, it seems like we're getting behind by 2, 3, or 4 goals in games before we even get on the board. We're a minus 29 in goal differential. We're 2 games under 500 at home.
No, let me ask you guys, with all this, this sucks. Reading these stats sucks. But so right now we're at 51 games. Like Kurt just said, we've played more games than the 4 teams we're trailing. So there's no making up ground with games in hand. But let's just say we don't know for sure. But coming out of the break, clearly Tarasenko's already playing, Krug's playing, Buchnevich hopefully is coming back. Ryan O'Reilly's got to be close by that point to at least be evaluated. Perutovich, Scandella. I know Scandella is not a huge. You know what? Fuck that. Scandella is an improvement on this defense.
You never know.
It can't fucking get worse.
Change anything. See if it works.
So honestly, maybe let's just say I don't think it'll happen. This team starts to go on a run. Trade deadline comes. Blues are, let's say, 1 point out of the playoffs. Do you still make trades? Do you still? I mean, in what way? I guess. Do you still trade your UFAs, or are you saying let's go for it? Let's see what happens.
Well, what did Doug Armstrong do with Stasny? We were in a playoff spot at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
right, and he said, "I don't believe in this team," and traded him.
And this team's worse than that team.
Oh,
yeah, no,
100%.
Well, okay, they're playing worse. I will die on the hill that this team is severely underperforming their talent level. I believe that. This team is just not clicking. Like Bill said, the chemistry is just not there. Chemistry is a thing, and they don't have it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but
I'm always
right. If a team's underperforming, shouldn't we be much more upset about the coaching? Right. I know. I know. Right. We've beat the horse to death with Van Ryn. Right. He's got to go. But fuck, if Berube can't get these guys together, shouldn't we be looking at him?
Isn't that funny? This is the first time that I can remember where a team's underperforming, and I'm like, it's not the coaching. It's not all the coaching. Because my first thought, typically back with Hitchcock, with with Andy Murray, with Quenneville, I even thought this. I remember at the time, like, this guy's not getting the guys motivated. He's not doing his job in practice. They're not working a strategy that's working with the guys on the team. It's time to move on. It's so weird that I don't feel that way about Berube, because I feel like I should, but I feel like he's done his job.
We just signed a 3-year extension, right? Before the season. And it's like 3.5 per million. So
yeah,
I think
is it the Stanley Cup effect? Seriously, like in our minds, and I'm actually asking you two, do you think in our minds it's we don't want to let go of the coach that finally brought a cup here?
Part of it, probably.
Or is it that we really believe that he's not the problem?
I mean,
very hypothetical question. I know. I'm sorry.
Part of it, I think, part of it is the Stanley Cup thing. But then again, they let Pietrangelo. Let him go. They tried to sign him, but they didn't give him what he wanted. And who's to know? Who's to say that if they did give him what he wanted, he still wouldn't have left and went to Vegas for the same? So I don't know if they're hung up on Berube because of the cup, or if they genuinely don't think he's the problem.
I'm asking you, why are you not upset with Berube?
And you're right, I'm not. And it's a hard thing to explain.
Isn't it weird? It's so weird.
And I think with me personally, it probably is part of the cup, and it's probably me. I'm never. That's not true. I hated Yo. I wanted Yo gone way before
we all did.
I never wanted to deal with the coach in the first place.
Yeah, agreed.
Now I was a Hitchcock guy a lot longer than I know other people were. No, Bill wasn't. I was
too.
But yeah, I mean, I think part of it comes down to I just like Berube. Now maybe he's not the guy for this particular group of players, but personally, I like him. I like his attitude. I like his. I don't know. Now I think next year with me, I think if the team gets off to a bad start next season, then I think you'd see a lot of people, me included, shift gears and say, okay, it's not working. It's just not working.
Well, wait a minute. Next year, let's say they trade all the UFAs. Do you give him a longer leash then? Because it's basically going to be a rebuilding year.
No. Well, it depends how they're playing based on the expectations they have for the team. It depends on who they give away and who they bring in and what they have to deal with. That's a bridge I'll cross at that time, because I don't know what the team looks like. So
right. I think Armstrong won't if he does unload all the UFAs and has to bring in makeshift talent for next year, or something less than making a brilliant move that suddenly has this team back on track. I think Berube gets the benefit of the doubt through next season because Armstrong knows that he didn't give him a good product to work with. I think it's pretty simple.
See, I think he did give him a good product to work with. I would argue that the team is better than is performing, but maybe maybe
Well,
not.
Well,
Maybe the
going
team
back
needs
to going back to one of the first points of the show, though, right? Or maybe this was our discussion before the show. He
Who
caps
knows?
out. Yeah, we did leave some of our best work on the cutting room floor tonight. I think.
We always do.
Yeah, but the fact that he caps out his D with he won't give anybody more than $6.5 million per season. So we've got this mediocre group. Right. I think it's relevant to bring it back in since we did talk about this before the show, but you don't pay anybody more than $6.5 million. You don't have that number one guy. You don't have the flexibility to have that number one guy because you've got too many guys. You got 3 guys making $6.5 million. Right. And it's ridiculous. Right. And Parayko is just him having the extension before he earned it is, that's Doug Armstrong's legacy, right? Given the extension before it's truly earned, right? He was a guy that was, earmarked to be the next number one, and he's not that. He's a 3 or a 4 at best.
Let's look at these defensive contracts when they're signed at the time that they were acquired. Okay, so Falk. When Falk was acquired, I loved the deal. I loved trading Edmondson, and it was a pick, right, for Falk. Love the deal.
Yeah, Dominic Bach.
Yeah, love the deal. Falk had a shitty first year here, but then turned around and was really good up until recently. Krug, when Pietrangelo went exploring options elsewhere, we signed Krug right away. I think we talked in the show. I liked the deal. I like the move. If we can't get Parayko, Krug was the guy to get.
Pietrangelo. If we can't get Pietrangelo.
I'm sorry. If we can't,
Parayko.
I'm sorry. If we can't get Pietrangelo,
right.
If we couldn't get Pietrangelo, Krug was a nice consolation prize.
Right. He was right from an economics perspective.
Yeah.
Substitution. Right. He was the next best thing.
Right. And the Parayko extension. At the time, I didn't mind it. It wasn't a high, it wasn't a, $8-9 million deal. It was a, term for value per year.
Well, and add in the fact that the signings around that time, Darnell Nurse going for what, $9.5 million,
Yeah.
Seth Jones going for like $9 million.
Yeah.
We saw Parayko as like, holy shit, this is a fucking steal.
So these deals on their own, when they're made, I remember really liking the deal. I thought this is a solid move.
Right.
But
now you've got way too much money tied up in your D.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is that, so they went for quantity of, 1B guys or, number 2 guys over what was hoped to be number 2 guys over a true clear-cut number 1. And, it was a depth move on defense. They had a deep defense. They didn't have that top-tier guy, but they have a solid top-to-bottom defense. So that was the thinking. But you put it all together, it just doesn't work for whatever reason. And then, it comes back to coaching. And we've harped on why Van Ryn still has a job, the defensive coach. It's mind-boggling to me. To me, this should have been done weeks ago, months ago, with Van Ryn. He should have been gone when this last season. This underperforming defense that individually the players should be performing better than they are, but as a whole they're not. I don't know how that's not coaching and game planning and of that nature. And to me, that's a Van Ryn issue. And how he still has a job, I have no idea because it's glaringly bad.
We've been kind of dancing around the idea recently with Parayko that he's
Injured.
current version of Eric Brewer.
Oh,
I'm going to flat out say it now. Colton Parayko is Eric Brewer.
what
He
if?
really is.
Hey Jeff, what if he is Bouwmeester, but he's hurt? Then finally gets healthy. Remember Bouwmeester for a couple years was
Right,
really bad.
Right.
And then he
favorite
got
quote-
healthy.
I used to say, take him out back. It's time to
My-
just take him out back, put him out of his misery.
People say they want Bouwmeester back, which I'd love to have Bouwmeester, Cup Bouwmeester here.
Give me
But
Cup Bouwmeester.
People
Yes.
fucking forget that he was really bad and inconsistent and made a lot of
Awful.
mistakes.
Awful.
For a couple years,
I think we even said for a little while Eric Brewer would be an upgrade over Jay Bouwmeester.
Bouwmeester was bad. He was hurt.
Bad.
He was having a lot of injury problems and he was playing through it. And
So maybe this is what this is. Maybe it's injury. I don't know.
Because he hasn't been quite the same since he had that back issue.
Watching him now, he is not the Colton Parayko that came up. He's not the Colton Parayko from the Cup team.
Right.
He's not even the Colton Parayko from the year after the Cup win, or maybe even the year after Pietrangelo left. He is a shell of himself. And I honestly, at this point, and I know it sounds ridiculous with how bad this defense is, I prefer to have him as a number 7 right now. He doesn't do anything right. He doesn't do anything correctly. He doesn't tie up sticks. He doesn't get in the passing lanes. He's always just trying to stick check.
I think he's hurt.
Yeah, maybe 3 out of 10 times that's going to work, but not all the time. It doesn't even seem like he's as quick as he used to be.
I think he's hurt.
His hockey IQ is just gone. And all that suffers if you're still hurt. You're right. Maybe he is still hurt. But if he's hurt, don't put him on the goddamn rink.
I completely agree with you. And the reason why I say I think he's hurt is because you don't see that dynamic. And we talked about this. You don't see the dynamic end-to-end rushes that he used to do. He used to carry the puck from end to end, and get a good scoring chance. You never see him even try that anymore. It's not that he tries and he fails. Never even tries it.
The most that I see him do is I'll see him skate up the boards and kind of like an HL 23 move, right, Bill? Like you see him like skate up the boards and then just continue to skate and maybe try to take it behind the net. Like you don't see him try to make that cut. That's like, oh shit, he's going to the net. Like you don't see him do that at all anymore. And he doesn't even seem to have the legs to get around guys to make those moves. It's just not there anymore.
Yeah, a couple of games ago, I thought he was showing those instincts back as far as rushing the puck and getting up on the play. But it's been fits and starts, and I do think that he's still.
Was it after he got called out? Was it after he got called out by Berube?
Yeah. See, it was the following game.
After he got called out,
his game big time.
He did. He made more of an effort.
But it lasted one game.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like, maybe he's limiting himself in what he can do in a game because he's got something going on with his body. And it's, oh shit, I was called out. I gotta push the envelope now. And I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but trying to rationalize what's going on with him because you just don't. The players, a guy of his size and ability and his skill set, it shouldn't just disappear. There's something going on. I think. I mean, I'd love to pick Armstrong's brain after the season and say, hey, is he hurt? Not that he would say, but during the 5-game losing streak, 5-0, not a single point, 23 goals allowed, most in the NHL over that span. Only 1 allowed on the penalty kill, though. 18 of those goals allowed were 5-on-5. 10 goals scored, which is 29th in the NHL. 3 of those goals were on the power play, 7 were 5-on-5. So only 7 5-on-5 goals in the last 5 games. Power play is 12th at 23.1%. Penalty kill is 5th at 92.9%. And faceoffs are 9th at 52.2. So we've got a combined, what is that? Like 115, 117 percent in special teams. So that's good. You shoot for over 110, right? That's really good. Faceoff percent, we're over 50%. That's good. The issue is 5-on-5. Power play is fine. PK is fine. 5-on-5, we are getting nothing. It's awful.
Oh, Matt Anger, new live listener, I believe, or at least new commenter, at least. Since 2019, talking about Colton Parayko, since 2019, he has morphed into Cotton Parayko. I have not seen that before. That's good.
Parayko.
I have never seen anyone with the body of Pronger be that soft. Wow. I think that's going to stick with me. Cotton Parayko. Very nice.
Because he's soft.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get it.
That's damn
That's a
good
thinker.
comedy right there.
That's
That's
thinker.
comedy.
All right. So if Armstrong's decision about being sellers at the deadline wasn't made up already, surely it is now. I mean,
Has to be.
has to be, right?
Yeah. I think I actually even said that on Twitter. Like after the Winnipeg game, if he wasn't sure about being a seller at this point, I don't know what the fuck. I don't think we're going to see any moves in the next week. Honestly, I thought if anything, we might see a coach firing.
Well, you can't. There's a freeze right now.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying even after the freeze.
Right.
Okay.
I think after the freeze is over going into next week, I don't think we'll see a move, but I do think hopefully there will be a lot of discussion during the All-Star game, because usually that is when a lot of GMs get together and start having
Right.
those talks. And so
Right.
I'm hoping
And-
we'll be hearing some of those talks are going on.
Right. And you've had your market setting thing with the Bo Horvat trade.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
funny.
the first chip has fallen.
Yeah.
The-
It's
and the NHL kind of like didn't know what to do with the All-Star game and Bo Horvat.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They did the same thing with John Scott, right? When he
Yeah,
got
and,
traded.
and somebody else too. Yeah, John Scott wore a neutral jersey.
Yeah.
For the All-Star.
Well, I think he wore the
skills
same
competition.
jersey as the Pacific team, but he didn't have a patch on it like the rest of the teams did. The rest of
In the
players
skills
did.
competition, though, every team had.
Oh
their
yeah,
own-
he wore an NHL jersey.
He
Yeah.
did. He wore something
Yeah.
neutral.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
All right, so after this break from strikewithmike.com, we'll compare this year's Blues defense to the 05-06 Blues defense. This is Let's Go Blues Radio.
During the magical 2019 playoff run, I was in the midst of buying my current home. Every time I spoke with my realtor, obviously, home buying was the discussion. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't stop thinking about what was destined to happen for our St. Louis hockey team. If only there were a realtor who could have walked me through the process, held my hand when needed, but was there to be a sounding board when I wanted to complain about a certain hand pass goal. Let realtor Mike Burgoyne with Rio Brokerage be that for you. He'll have your needs top of mind as he skates you through the home buying or selling process, dangling you past any obstacles and assisting on all your home goals. Check out strikewithmike.com for more information or give him a call directly at 314-753-4060. That's Mike Burgoyne with Rio Brokerage at strikewithmike.com, and that number again is 314-753-4060. Don't forget to tell Mike that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
So the last time the Blues were this bad defensively, 05-06, we're thinking maybe. Jeff compiled some stats. Goals against per game in 05-06, 3.78. This season, through 51 games, 3.61. Shots against per game in 05-06 were 30.6 on average. This year, it's 31.9. PK in 05-06, 82.2, which was 15th in the league at the time. And this year, it's 76.2. So
you could almost, and granted, like I know we consider this era the same, right? But like you could, and things change over time. You know, that was right after the lockout. All the new rules are being implemented. We are still seeing shootouts every damn night, but still, you could make the case that the 05-06 team played better defense, which is crazy to think about.
Well, we in 05-06 was the goalies were Curtis Sanford, Patrick Lalime, Bakashua, and Divas. So
2-pad stack Reinhard Divas. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
and botched eye surgery, Patrick Lalime.
Yes. Yes. Still, the image that sticks out for me from that season is puck off the glass.
Yep.
Puck off the glass, off his back into the net.
Yeah,
We
Who shot
we
that?
were at It was against the Rangers. I remember that.
So at the time, it was a former and future St. Louis Blue who shot it.
Former and future St. Louis Blue. that
So a
played for the
player who played here
Rangers.
before and then
Right.
came back.
Only David Perron fits that mold.
Martin
Ruchinski. Ah, okay.
Yep.
Yes.
I was at that game too.
Yeah, I remember we were at our friend Chris Schmieder's house and at a party at his house when he lived in over by Horseshoe Lake. No, that was before Edward.
Oh, right. That house. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I remember that game so well because there was a guy. I mean, this was when the arena was, not even a quarter full, and because this was like January or February, right? Like, I remember a guy just in front of us when that goal went off. He goes, "That just went off Lalim's fucking back. I'm done. This team sucks." And he just stormed out. Like, didn't even just walk out. He ran out. And I was like, that guy is pissed.
That's probably what I would have done had I been there.
The Meeker says, I still like Falk. He plays with heart and can see the frustration on his face when he messes up. Cotton just stands and looks around like he doesn't know what happened. That's true. I mean, it's Parayko has that deer in headlights. Like what's going on? I went to the Bahamas for a second. What happened? And yeah, I know I still like Falk. I don't, it's hard to play consistently good hockey for a long period of time,
especially when you're the only one doing it.
Yes, and he's struggling right now. I'm sure he'll turn it around. This break could be really good for him. We'll see how he plays after the break. But no, it's a good description of Parayko, actually. As much as I want to like Parayko, because I liked him coming up, I liked him early on here, and it's so frustrating to watch him play and the way he is now. It's like, man, I want to like you so bad. You've got all the tools, and you're just not using them.
I tell you what, guys, and people who know the show know what I'm about to say is true. I've got a lot of weird, random Blues jerseys. Okay, one that comes to mind, which is a player I still love, is Scott Young. I've got a Bryce Salvador. I've got a Jamie Rivers jersey.
Wow.
I also have a Colton Parayko jersey.
Keyboard warrior.
Do you have long hair or short hair, Jamie Rivers?
That would have been long hair, Jamie Rivers.
So early on.
Yeah, early on. Yep. Oh yeah, number 6, not number 20. I got a lot of, and I'm sure there's more I'm not even thinking about. But Ryan Johnson. I got a Ryan Johnson Blues jersey. Colton Parayko. I have his Winter Classic. So I think there's still value there because it was before he turned the Eric Brewer out. But that is the one jersey that I'm like, I don't even wear around the house. Like
I have the Parayko Stanley Cup jersey. Right, he was so good in that Stanley Cup run.
Yeah, over the summer, I watched. I think it was Game 4 of that series, and it was the one we won at home. That was Game 4, right?
Lost Game 1, won Game 2, lost Game 3, won Game 4. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So I watched that one,
Game 4.
and I remember just seeing him like get the puck in the defensive zone, skate it out, get it to like O'Reilly, and then he did that like 3 times in a row. Like, made a good defensive play, took the puck, got it to somebody else. Blues get a scoring chance, and I'm like, how is this the same guy? What the hell happened?
Yeah. It's we talked about it before, right? It could possibly be injury. Or is it just that he is so exposed as a guy who's expected to be the number one? He doesn't have the hockey IQ to do that, right? Or is it maybe is something that can be fixed with medicine, right? Give the guy some Adderall, see what he does.
If he was a really good number 3, right, second pairing guy, if he would settle in as that, easier said than done. If we could acquire a true number 1 again, I think maybe, assuming injury is not part of the issue here, you'd like to think that maybe that he would settle into a different role and he'd maybe be better.
I love Matt Harris' comment here. Fuck it. He doesn't deserve any vowels. He's now
Colton Perk. It's almost like it's like a band name.
I was gonna look at that and I was like, that's like, because I'm so foreign with Apple. If somebody were to hand me an Apple MacBook, I'd be like, oh, where's the Colton Perk buttons at?
That's
by the way, we have a winner with worst jersey. The Meeker. I have a Rudy Poshek jersey he gave me. So I didn't hear the story on this, Meeker. What did Rudy Poshek walk up and say, nobody wants this jersey. Here you go, kid.
I hated Rudy Poshek. I couldn't stand him.
He was bad.
Pilon, Poshek, couldn't stand either of those guys. Brewer. Yeah. Just hated all of them. You got to hear, okay, if we're a refresher of our defense from 0506, we got Dennis Weidman, Barrett Jackman, who just opened a dispensary in St.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I actually want to go check that out.
He and Chaser, yeah.
I want to check that out. That's awesome.
Yep. Eric Weinrich,
Matt Walker,
Christian Backman, Kevin Dahlman, Bryce Salvador, Steve Popes, Eric Brewer, and Jeff Wojtke.
Former employer of the show, Bryce Salvador.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. I will stand by. I still say this, and I think it's true. Jeff Wojtke, in terms of, I guess there had to be a cap number on it. Like you got to say how many number of games a person's played. I still say Jeff Wojtke is the worst Blue of all time.
Wow.
He was awful. I never understood why they actually, you know what? I take that back. I do understand why they kept playing him, because when Brewer sucked, management was like, yeah, we're just waiting for Wojtke to come around because he's the cornerstone of the trade. And it's like, no, he's fucking not. You can see he is not. And the poor guy, who was the other poor guy that came in at that trade? You guys remember the name?
Lynch.
Doug Lynch.
Yeah.
Got the one. I'm like, how did Jeff Wojtke get over 100 games in the NHL and that guy never even sniffed it? Was he really that bad?
We should do a show on worst Blues players, but weight it based on games played. So like Garth Butcher, for example, played a lot of games when he was here.
Yes.
But he was objectively terrible. But the fact he played so many games makes him worse than somebody who was bad but didn't play many games.
You know who I hated as a Blue, and now we're getting into tangents here. Mike Keane. Do you remember the short stint that he was here?
Yes.
He was supposed to be that really good defensive forward.
He was the guy, right? He won cups everywhere he went. He won a cup in Montreal. Then he was part of the Patrick Waugh trade. Won it in Colorado, and then he went to Dallas, and then he came here. And I was at his first game as a Blue, first regular season game as a Blue, season opener in 2000, or was it 2000? No, 2001.
Might have been 2001.
Columbus. It was against Columbus, in Columbus. And like, we lost that game, and I was like, this Mike Keane thing's not going to look too good. He was bad in that game.
The thing that pissed me off about him was the fact that they then traded him later that season. He didn't even spend a whole season here. They traded him back to Dallas, and all of a sudden he could fucking play hockey again. That drove me nuts.
I have my Keane story. Back in the letsgoblues.com forum day, the heyday, had someone when Mike Keane was traded here. I had a Mike Keane fan, a huge fan, who's also a Blues fan too, but a huge Mike Keane fan, like obsessively.
What was his name?
It wasn't a he, it was a she.
Okay, I remember there being
Twisted Mama was the screen name.
That's it. I remember there being a big Keane fan in the Let's Go Blues.com forum.
And she contacted me. She wanted me to design a Mike Keane fan site for her.
That's
So I did, and
You
she
told me
sent
this.
me binders of information on Mike Keane. Binders of
Mm.
stuff to put on the site, pictures, images, information, all kinds of stuff. She was in love with Mike Keane. It was
Let's get
crazy.
what was her name? Twisted Mama?
Twisted Mama.
Let's get Twisted Mama on the show. Twisted Mama, if you are listening, please, that would be I'm not kidding. I'm really not making this up. That would be an awesome summer episode.
I don't even know what happened
Have
on that
her
site.
on and talk to her about Mike Keane and her love for him. Please
Yeah.
email us, radio@letsgoblues.com.
She
We'd
had
love
met
to have
him.
you on.
She had met him, and yeah, you meet a player, you automatically put him on a pedestal of sorts, to some degree,
Mhm.
because and how nice they are to you and whatnot. But yeah, she was.
Well,
She had, it was crazy.
I will say, you guys know my Slack chat picture, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
You
It's
and Brew.
me and Eric Brewer, and we went like it was literally it was one of those things where it was a joke to go meet Eric Brewer because everybody knew how much I hated the guy, and I went and met him. He was the nicest fucking guy. Like,
He looks like a nice guy.
Everybody says that about NHL players, right? And plus, we always heard about how he's such a good locker room guy. Dude, he had full conversations with people, and there was gobs of people there because it was him and Barrett Jackman. And so there's a bunch of people there just to see Jackman. But, like, he had full conversations with people, asked how long they've been fans, who was your favorite player all time for the Blues? Did you watch any of the Olympics recently? Like, having full conversations with people. And, I'm the one dude who's like, hey, can you take a picture of me? I know that sounds weird because I knew it'd be funny to like post it. And, oh yeah, your phone, one of your friends, hey, you would take a picture of us? And I'm like, you are too nice, dude. Like, I want to hate you. Stop being nice.
He looks like a nice guy. He looks like he'd be a nice guy. That's the problem.
He was.
He's too nice.
That guy, the guy that you put on a pedestal because you met him, for me, is Jocelyn Lemieux.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if you remember, it was the late 80s when he was with the Blues, and he had a broken ankle, couldn't play for I don't know, he was out for 6 to 8 weeks, and he showed up at one of my games out in Creve Coeur. He was dating somebody whose kid played for the other team, and he popped into our. Yes.
Sorry. Continue.
Thank you. No, so he popped into the locker room after the game, and he's like, hey, you guys had a great effort tonight, and he had a special shout out to me, and I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Jocelyn Lemieux told you, hey, that was a great game, goalie. And from that time on, I'm like, oh, it was great. And he healed from his injury and got traded. So
my put a guy on a pedestal from meeting him was, and I didn't have to meet him to have him and put him on this pedestal, but it was Bobby Plager. And I met him at SCU's campus. Must have been, I don't know, 06 or 07, something like that. And he was there with part of the Blues at a table, talking about tickets and stuff. And he was signing pictures. Nobody was there. Nobody was like in line to get a picture. So I walked to the table. I was like, I didn't know he was over there even. I hadn't heard anything about it. I walked by. I'm like, that's fucking Bobby Plager. So I walked over and got an autograph picture. And I started talking to him. Asked him about Barrett Jackman's shoulder and all this stuff. And nicest guy. Oh my God. Talked. Didn't have to, right? He talked. Asked me about me and where I played and how long I've been playing. And wow, it was just. He's just a super nice guy. He didn't have to. He went above and beyond as far as he wasn't just answering questions I had for him, but he would ask questions of me too. So that was great. It was fantastic.
His passing still hits me. When they were doing the Hall of Fame stuff, they said, let's, and they brought everyone out for the puck drop against the Lightning. And they said, let's honor, before we bring all of our Hall of Fame inductees out, let's honor those who are no longer with us. And when he listed it was just a list like Bob Gassoff, Barclay Plager, Bob Plager. When he said Bob's name, I'm like, oh fuck, like that. I don't know if and this sounds dumb. My sister used to make fun of me when I took like Jack Buck's death so hard. She was like, "Oh, you didn't even know the guy," but I listened to him every goddamn night. Like he's a part of my life, and that's how Bob Plager was for me. Like, and I had met him and talked to him plenty of times, even before the media. When I just go to blues events and he'd be there. I'd be like, "Oh, Dad, there's Bob Plager," and we just go up and talk to him, like you said. Like he was a member of our family, and that's how he was. And so when I even now, when somebody mentions Bob Plager, I'm like, oh yeah. And it still just hits me in such a weird way.
He's just so approachable. Another one was Guy Aber, training camp. Bill knows the story about when my cousin was there with me, and he brought his glove, his goalie trapper. And he asked Aber after practice, and he had showered and he came out into the lobby, and he was signing autographs, and super nice guy. And my cousin Jeff asked him to put on his glove so Jeff could toss him a puck. He could make a catch it with his glove on. And he did. He was like perfectly. He goes, "Oh sure, yeah, I'll do it for you." Put the glove on. He caught it, and so he could say Guy Aber made a save with his, caught a puck with his glove. It was kind of a neat thing. And he puts that stinky old glove on his hand after he gets out of the shower, from after practice. That was just super nice.
That I remember that glove too. Stinky old Vaughn.
Yeah, it was a white Vaughn. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a bad one.
That whenever you say Guy Aber, I think of if anybody listens to the Puck Podcast, our friends over at Puck Podcast, Eddie and Doug. Apparently, I think they said they were doing college games, and they used to go do like some minor league hockey college games. Phil Esposito used to work with them over at the ESPN, the local ESPN. And I guess maybe it wasn't college game. It might have been I guess it was an NHL game.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's 10:58. Do you know where your children are?
Mountain time. Mountain time.
Right. It's not even mountain. All right.
Anyway, it's
it's
almost 10 Mountain Time.
I'll say it's not even there. You should have waited till 11.
Nah.
But anyway, so apparently Phil Esposito didn't know who Guy Aber was. And so when he was looking at the roster, he was like, Guy Hebert. And they were like, no, it's actually pronounced Guy Aber. And he goes, Gay Bear? What the hell's that?
That's a certain segment of society. Hairy guys. Oh. All right. So I got some social media fails. I think some people are just now realizing that we're kind of stuck with what we have with our high-priced defensemen. So welcome to the conversation. We've been saying this for months, that the no trade clauses attached to these defensemen make them basically untradeable unless they waive the no trade clauses. And some people aren't aware that you can't trade someone with a no trade clause. It literally says, the NTC literally means no trade clause. I saw some comments from people who should know better, say that we need to trade a couple guys to any team on the list of teams that they'd go to, and it would just be addition by subtraction. What list of teams is that going to be? There are no trade clauses. There's no list. It's not a modified no trade clause. It's a full no trade clause.
Do you guys remember in NHL 94, if you tried to make a trade with the same team you were trading with, what they would do?
If you tried to make a team with the same team you were trading
with.
So
if you tried to make a trade, like let's say you were trying to trade Brett Hall from the St. Louis Blues to the St. Louis Blues, because you could do that in the trade screen. Do you remember what it would do?
No.
It would say, well, we'll do it, but that's silly. Like it would literally pop up with that message. And that's what I'm picturing here with this. Like, okay, Colton, we want to trade you. Here's your list of teams you're willing to be traded to. The St. Louis Blues.
Yeah. That's it. Krug, Falk, Parayko, Leddy. All those guys have no trade clauses. And I'm sure most Blues fans would like to see one or two of them traded. If they don't waive the no trade clauses, they're not going anywhere. they don't have to go anywhere. So I think
They
some
get
people are under the impression
modified. They get modified clauses at the end of their contract.
some do. Yeah, some
Yeah.
do. But yeah, some people are under the impression that you can just that a no trade clause means, well, they'll submit a 7 teams they absolutely can't be traded to, or 10 teams they can't be traded to, and then we can trade them to anybody else. That's not how this works. That's not how full no trade clauses work. Those are modified no trade clauses. Each player is different. The number of teams are allowed to have on a list. That's not what these players have.
There's literally 2 things Doug Armstrong can do here. One, he can go to, let's just say it's Colton Parayko, just for the sake of argument. Goes Colton Parayko, hey, we want to trade you. We're going to trade you if we can. Where would you like to be traded? And I can orchestrate a trade with that team or those teams or whatever. And if Colton could just flat out say, I don't want to be traded. Sorry, not going anywhere.
Yep.
Or he can orchestrate a trade somewhere and then go to Parayko and say, hey, I spoke with Chicago Blackhawks, let's just say, and they want to acquire you. What do you think? Would you be interested? That's literally the only 2 options he has. And both times, Parayko can just say, I'm going to enact my no trade clause. I don't want to go anywhere. Sorry.
From what beat writers have said, I think it's beat writers, maybe in Korak or Rutherford, they've said that Parayko, I'm not sure how this question came up or how they got this info, but they said that Parayko is not going to waive his no trade clause. He's very happy here.
Yeah.
That was the gist. It was a conversation about Parayko maybe waiving his no trade clause, and they were like, that's highly doubtful. He's very happy here. So they don't think it's going to happen. So, and people will also say, well, there's ways you can trade it. You can trade anybody. You can get anybody traded. You can cut their ice time. You can bench them. You can, say you're going through a rebuild and that player might not want to be here. If you bench a guy, if you cut his ice time, or scratch him entirely when that kind of move isn't necessarily warranted. I'm not going to get into that aspect of it here, but if he deserves to play, and if he's one of your top 6 defensemen, but you're just not playing him as a way to blackmail him and to say, hey, I'm not going to play you, so you might as well waive your no trade clause so I can trade you. That's a really shitty way to treat a player, and that's a really good way for players to not want to come play for you that have a no trade clause. Like, I fought for my no trade clause. I fought to get that in my contract. Why would I go to a team that's going to try and blackmail me out of a clause that I have in my contract that I wanted? So
yeah, players talk.
Yeah.
Again, this isn't a video game, as I made the NHL 94 reference earlier. This isn't a video game. This isn't like, okay, this guy has a no trade clause, but I'm going to try to trade him anyway. Although video games don't allow that. But I'm saying players talk. Colton Parayko, let's just say him. If the Blues are trying to acquire some big defenseman or some guy that is a free agent, even a forward, but he's friends with Colton Parayko, he's going to say, I talked to Colton, and he's fucking pissed with how you've been treating him. I'm not signing with you because you're going to treat me the same way. Like, that's bad for player relations. That's just not how it works.
And I think Doug Armstrong's been pretty good with players as far as how he treats them, how he talks about them in the media. I think the organization is a very player-friendly organization. That's a good thing. You'd like free agents to, consider St. Louis as an option. Instead of writing them off just because, Armstrong's a GM, he's an asshole. He forces players out of the no trade clauses so he can trade them. So when people say that, you can trade anybody, people waive no trade clauses all the time. Well, sometimes they do, but usually it's because they want out because the team is rebuilding and they don't want to go through that rebuild, or, there's a huge problem with the coach where they just don't get along. They fight. They're butting heads constantly, or the team of doctors messes up shoulder surgery and you want out, right? So I don't think the mindset of you can trade anybody. No trade clauses don't mean anything. It's a bunch of bullshit. That's people making up shit, talking out of their ass. We talked about Van Ryn. We don't have to rehash that again, do we?
No, we do not, because I think we all, not even just the 3 of us, I think all of Blues Nation, I think let's say 90% of people who reside in St. Louis and surrounding areas agree with us. The only ones that don't are like Doug Armstrong, Mike Van Ryn, maybe Craig Berube, Mike Van Ryn's wife, Mike Van Ryn's kids. That's about it.
Julie's brother, who went to high school with him, he'd be pissed.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, damn it. I guess Armstrong's talking to him too much.
All right. Well, Brett Hull's dad passed away, and Bally Sports will file for bankruptcy, and the NHL's TV ratings are down, or are they? We'll discuss all of that after this word from Sunrise Brewery. So don't nobody go nowhere. This is Let's Go Blues Radio.
Do you like hockey? Of course you do. Do you like beer? Of course you do. Are you 21? Let's hope so. If you answered yes to all of those questions, run on down to your local beer distributor and pick up a 2-4 of Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, or any other delicious hockey-themed beer from Sunrise Brewery. That's right, Sunrise Brewery beer is available at various beer stores around town, so check around for the one closest to you. That's Sunrise Brewery. Let's go Blues.
You know, Amy said that she could do a much better job than me on the voiceover work for that Sunrise spot.
Oh, let's have her do it.
So I told her,
please.
I said, next time you're over here, we'll sit down and we'll record you doing it. We'll write some copy for you and we'll do it.
Do it. Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get some copies started. So that way, like, you at least have a starting point.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yes, please. I would love that. That'd be amazing.
Add a female voice to the show.
Yeah,
I just want to hear Amy as part of the show. That'd be fantastic.
that would be great. Because right now it's take off hosers, right? The
Right. That's the only one.
The
Canadian voice
voiceover.
actress. Yeah,
the
Canadian voice
Canadian
actress.
voice actress that you paid
$5. I was going to contact her again to have her do something else, but she's no longer on Fiverr. So
Oh.
yeah, I know.
Well,
I thought she did good work.
that was good. Take off, you hosers.
Take off, hosers.
Although it's hard to say, again, like Hofer, it's hard to say hoser without sounding Canadian.
Oh, but I think it's a Canadian slam, right?
It has to be, yes.
I mean,
I don't think it was originated anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I first heard it when I was a kid watching Strange Brew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug. Oh,
And then how great was it that Bob McKenzie was the best hockey journalist of
Right.
And that was from an American fan of Canada. It couldn't have been more perfect.
So the Blues have been linked to Jesse Puljajarvi, Edmonton's forward. So this article written by Frank Saravalli at dailyfaceoff.com. It's a long article, but I'll read the Blues small portion to you. St. Louis Blues. The Blues were one of the teams that responded to Edmonton's inquiry about Puljajarvi. The belief is that they were willing to roll the dice with Puljajarvi for the rest of the season to see if they could rehab his game a bit, sending back another project player or pending UFA the other way. Puljajarvi is a former fourth overall pick, and makes $3 million per. This is he's in the last year of his contract, and he's an RFA after this season. Puljajarvi's fatal flaw is his absence of hockey intelligence, which we have a lot of on this team. Mm-hmm. Do we need more of that? And he lacks awareness. Saw some folks speculating that they'd like to see Logan Brown go the other way, but why would Edmonton want Logan Brown for Puljajarvi?
Logan Brown is Matt D'Agostini, the Blues fans, right?
I think D'Agostini was a much more effective player than Logan Brown.
No. I'm talking about with trade talk. I'm saying everybody
you can
back
trade
in the day
him for
was
anybody.
D'Agostini in a third for Crosby. That's all you got to do, right?
I like D'Agostini.
I think I did too. My wife loved him. She said he was the hottest player on the Blues.
26?
36.
36. Okay, very close.
You're thinking of Peter Chayanik.
See, I was gonna say Chayanik was 36. He was 26.
He was 26.
I did him backwards. You're right.
Matt D'Agostini, my wife loved him. She said he was the hottest player on the Blues, which, sure. I thought he kind of looked like me, so I was like,
Well, she likes Bennington. What does she know?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I still, it blows my mind that she doesn't say that Ryan O'Reilly is that attractive. I'm like, come on, that dude is so hot.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Give me, exactly.
Yeah.
I am totally straight, and I would do Ryan O'Reilly. Clip that off.
It's the eyes, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I say, why not acquire him? We did it with Nail Yakupov.
That was the name.
Look at how well he's doing. So let's go that route again.
That was the name that was coming to mind with all. I mean, every part of this. Former first-round pick. I mean, he was first overall, but Puljajarvi, fourth overall, from Edmonton. Needs a change of scenery. No hockey IQ.
Right.
Lacks awareness. 100%. That is Nail Yakupov.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yakupov played 100 miles an hour, but didn't know what the hell to do with the puck. Remember, hey, Bill, you remember where we were when we acquired him?
I'm blacking it out.
The Ozarks.
Yeah.
I think we're playing poker at the Ozarks.
Yeah. I think you're right. That's
I think you announced it. You saw it on your phone.
Yeah. That was that 1 second that I got reception that weekend.
Yeah.
And that was the news I got. But yeah.
There you go. Matt Harris, resident LGBT bisexual. ROR is daddy as fuck.
I guess that's a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I guess that's like porn, right? Like, oh, daddy. You know, because I never had a girl call me daddy, which I don't think I ever want. I hope my wife never calls me daddy.
That's always weird to me, right? I mean, that's
I don't want that. I think if you got that, I think if you got that, you've got somebody who has daddy issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to say this right real quick. I once had a girl who wanted me to call her mommy.
Oh,
I didn't
really
like that.
I could.
Oh, I did not like it.
How do you do that? How do you even do that?
I was literally like,
that's the last thing I want to think of.
I was literally like, okay, mommy.
Oh, you did really?
This is so weird. I get the fuck out of here. I gotta leave. Where's my pants?
That's hilarious.
That stays between us and our listeners.
Yeah. It's gonna live on the internet forever, but okay.
That's right. I don't know. You know what? Honestly, at this point, he's a pending RFA. Why the fuck not? I mean, if it's like a throw in with like a third round pick or something for a fourth or a fifth or whatever you can get for because apparently they're wanting Mikkola. See what you got in him for, the next 25, 30 games. If it works out, qualify him, bring him back for another year, see what he can do.
Well, especially if you don't have plans on bringing Mikkola back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't move your existing defense, right? Your NTCs, you probably have to get rid of Mikkola, even though he's not your worst defenseman. I don't think, but you see, you get rid of him, you free up almost $2 million, along with whatever else you free up with O'Reilly, Tarasenko, whatever, or any other moves you make to try and we've talked about this, about how do you fix the defense. You either have it as is, or you throw more money at it. So, if they're gonna bring in a $4 or $5 million a year player on defense, then they'd have to move Mikkola. So why not? Why not bring him in? Although he makes
what you got.
And I mean he's making $3 million this year. Next year you would assume he would not make that much.
But what if the Blues luck out? He comes here and he pots 10 goals, and we're like, Doug Armstrong can't.
He signs him for $4.25.
A bad contract.
4 years, 4.25 per. Right.
Look what we got. We can't let this guy go to RFA. Yeah. Here's Yuri Laterra money.
You know what? Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
God, no.
If you could sign him for cheap, great. But if you're adding anything next season, and this will be a show in the future, it's got to be defense. You have to work with the defense. You have to. So I'm not worried about forwards right now, but hey, if you want to bring him in for the rest of the season, fine. I don't care. Who cares? Bring him in. Maybe find lightning in a bottle. Who cares? Bally Sports is going to file for bankruptcy in what some are calling one of the worst financial collapses in the history of sports media, if not the worst, period. Diamond Sports Group, who manages Sinclair Broadcast Group's 19 Bally Sports regional sports television networks, that's a mouthful, including Bally's
Lots of
sports.
sports.
Lots
You
of
just
sports.
said sports like 19 times.
That's their problem. They're paying for all this ink to print sports 19 times in all their copy. This includes Bally Sports Midwest, which televises Blues and Cardinals games. They're filing for bankruptcy. So Diamond Sports Group is reportedly
You're saying they broadcast sports.
Yes, I believe so. Some would say that. They're reportedly $8.6 billion in debt. On top of that, Sinclair owes $55 billion in sports media rights to the MLB, NBA, and NHL teams across the country. Sinclair is reportedly hoping to strike a deal to help them keep the channels operating during bankruptcy. As a result, several professional teams, sports teams, we're talking a crap load, who rely on revenue from TV deals are going to take a huge financial hit and will have to pull back their spending, potentially cutting payroll, especially considering the Diamond can terminate the deals whenever they want amid a restructuring. The St. Louis Cardinals, for example, have been singled out as a franchise that will take one of the biggest hits because of a lot of their revenue comes from RSN television rights, and they own about 30% of Bally Sports Midwest. Altogether, Bally Sports broadcasts 15 MLB teams, 17 NBA teams, 14 NHL teams, and several others as well. So this will affect the Blues a little bit, not near as much as the Cardinals. Really, the Blues need to piggyback on whatever the Cardinals do. The Cardinals need to start their own broadcast network, and the Blues need to be part of that somehow.
Pull an MSG network in St. Louis,
something like that. The Cardinals, the Cardinals. I mean, they've got such a following. I mean,
right?
You would think that
you could
they'd be fine with
imagine
it.
broadcasting, Cardinals TV through the Midwest.
Yeah,
that'd be huge.
Yeah, although it'd be one more station for cable companies to have to pick up, too.
Yeah. I mean, this is.
It's not surprising at all.
I remember I read an article after the sale from Fox Sports to ESPN, and then ESPN had to sell that off because of the monopoly situation. And I remember somebody, when Bally's was in the mix, somebody said, this company is not going to be able to hold this for very long. It's going to go bankrupt. And I remember thinking, then why the fuck would they? But it's because it's a shiny new toy for a bunch of millionaires to play with. And it's like, clearly this was not the right toy for you, because it's hard to make money off something like this right now, especially with how archaic these TV deals are.
Right. But they bet heavy on integrating, because they licensed it with Bally's because they were going to integrate the betting into it, and they never got there. They couldn't mature it fast enough to actually integrate, where you could, I never really understood what they were trying to do. I don't know, maybe get to the point that you could text bet, while you're watching the game, just quickly do that. But no, it was a terrible, terrible business decision by a terrible, terrible company. Sinclair is disgusting. They
priced themselves out of providers too. Bally's is not available on Dish Network, or
any of the streaming services, right?
Yeah, YouTube, Hulu, Sling,
YouTube TV.
Yeah, none of those will carry it because they're too expensive. And some money is better than no money, right? Wouldn't you want to get the revenue from these providers so you can actually get your station out there? You think you could charge more for ad revenue too for this those ads that run across the air for if they're going out to more people? And their app doesn't work half the time. It's a piece of shit. The product they're putting out, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that it's the most what they say? They said it was one of the worst financial collapses in the history of sports media. That doesn't surprise me. The way that the end users their experience has been kind of shitty with Bally's.
What was the game recently? Was that the
It was
Winnipeg
the
game?
Winnipeg game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It would just go out for 10 seconds at a time.
I'm lucky enough with the position that I have that I can just, because it was on NHL Network, and I know that was blacked out here in St. Louis, but I was able to still get it. I didn't experience any of that because I was getting the Winnipeg feed, and I saw everybody on Twitter complaining, "Hey, can you stop blacking out during the fucking game?" And
It
I know there's
happened
been a couple
3
of other
times
games.
in the first 3 minutes
That's
of the game.
ridiculous. That should
And it happened
never happen.
about 15 times during the entire game. It happened. It was crazy.
You're paying for the service. And that's what I always say. Like, whenever my power will go out for like a couple hours or my Wi-Fi goes out for a day, I'm like, okay, how about you take that shit off my bill, because I'm paying you to fucking work. And if you're not working, what the hell am I paying you for? And that's how I feel with Bally's. It fucks up all the time. The app is complete shit. I mean, utter garbage. And there are people who are literally just paying for the app to watch Blues and Cardinals games. And it's like, on my TV upstairs, if I'm watching it on the app, I have to turn the volume all the way up, because for whatever reason, the game comes in at such a low volume. So then when the fucking commercials come on, I'm about to blow out my speakers because those are at regular volume. And it's like, this is 2023. We should have this shit figured out.
Do you know what Bally's? I complained on Twitter that it happened 3 times in the first 3 minutes, and I tagged Bally's, and I was like, what is going on? I mean, I'm watching this game, and every minute and a half of real time it cuts out for 10 seconds, and it just keeps and so I tagged them. I said, what's going on? And they said, and I said, other people are experiencing this too, and they said, well, let us know your device and where you're located, and we'll try and troubleshoot your problem. I'm like, this is not my problem. It's everybody is having this issue that's getting the Bally's feed. And I said, look within. This is not me. And they said, well, send us a DM and we'll try and work with you to fix your problem. I'm like, fuck you. This is not my problem.
It's level 1 tech support in India texting you that shit.
Yep, that is not at all a person talking to you. That is somebody's tagging us, and there's keywords related to an issue with technical support. Let's just send them this message. That's what happens.
And the Meeker made a good point. He said, I thought my Wi-Fi was cutting out and realized it wasn't my Wi-Fi because the Bally's logo was still in the corner. Yeah, exactly. I know it's the same thing. The screen was black and there was no audio, but that fucking Bally's logo was up in the upper right-hand corner, still there. So the signal was being received, but their feed from the game was
Matt Harris. I love his comment here, and clearly there has to be some financial backing here, but I'm going to make a point after I read your comment that proves that there is, or just brainstorming here. We stop making hockey so fucking hard to watch, get rid of the blackouts, and put games on any screen that'll show it. Now you see that and you say, okay, well then how do the businesses make money? Okay, stop blacking out ESPN Plus. And you have to raise the rates for that a little bit. I don't think anyone's going to complain that much. So if you get ESPN Plus, you can get all the games. 2, if ESPN's carrying a game, and so is, let's just say it's Bally, don't black out the ESPN feed. Let people still watch that feed because you're still getting eyes on the screen. You're still getting people watching the game. And again, same thing with NHL Network. You stop the fucking blackouts. Again, I got it back in the day before streaming, but now the world is going to streaming. Stop blacking games out. The fact this is still happening with every major league is ridiculous to me.
I'd love for them to figure this out, but the problem with that is that their advertisers are paying for, exclusive. They want eyes. They want to know that people are watching their ads on your broadcast and not looking somewhere else. So they want exclusivity, right? That everyone's going to watch this feed if they want to watch this team play in the local market. I understand that to some degree, but the Cardinals did come out, and the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, said that they want to do it with blackouts. They think the blackouts are a extremely dated way to do things, and they think they want to do it with blackouts.
Right.
So, and
Well,
Cardinals have a lot of
look
pull in the MLB, so that'd be interesting to see if anything happens with that.
Yeah. In look at the Chicago Blackhawks, right? They voluntarily did not broadcast their games in their own market, and
For a long time.
for a very long time. And there was, I mean, we get to joke about, the Blackhawks didn't exist before they drafted Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, because no fan knows them because of that. Right. That is just god awful business decision. Bill Wirtz was the probably least business savvy, right? At least when it came to his hockey team, of any of the owners ever in the history of hockey. And, his kids figured it out, came along and started broadcasting, and, that their popularity is through the roof. Yeah, it helps that you won some cups and, ignored some rape and all that other stuff. But
I don't know
Dollar
why.
bill.
I don't know why. To go back to your point, Jeff, about the blackouts, I don't know why they just can't put the same feed on like ESPN Plus and Bally's. Yeah, I like if you're watching Bally's through, let's say you have it with DirecTV, and so you could watch the feed on DirecTV, or you could watch it on ESPN Plus, and it's the exact same feed, same commercials, same everything.
And if it's judged by your location, because they can still do that, they can say, okay, well, it's in, let's say it's Blues at Rangers. If it's closer to St. Louis, we'll show the St. Louis ads. Closer to New York, we'll show the New York ads. Like, that's not that hard to do by today's standards.
Yeah.
Or if it's not anywhere, we just show national ads. You have opportunity to sell more ads at that point,
especially with streaming, because I know for a fact that this stuff is granular. I have 2 different Roku devices. I have one Roku device in my kitchen TV and one Roku device on the family room TV on the other side of the wall. I will a lot of times I will have the family room TV up high and turn the kitchen muted, and I'll sync them up because they'll be a little off because streaming has a little delay, whatever. So I'll sync them up. They're both streaming, both using the same DirecTV streaming app. So I'm watching the game, both TVs. They will become unsynced as the game goes on, and the commercials go out of sync. They may even run different commercials on the same fucking Roku device in the same market. I've had different commercials
in the same
run.
house.
Yeah,
the same
I've had different commercials run, and I don't know if other Roku users have seen almost every commercial break. There's like a 5 or 10 second, we're in a commercial break. We'll rejoin the stream shortly. There's like some kind of graphic on the screen. It's like a filler to go between commercials. I don't know why it's there, but it's very strange how two different Roku devices in the same house would have different commercials for the exact same stream on the exact same app.
Well, I'll tell you, to tie this slightly back to Bally Sports here, the app that I use on my device is, it's like a TV app where I can basically get channels from pretty much anywhere. So if I want to watch the Oilers feed when the Blues are playing the Oilers, I can jump on and grab that feed instead. The only time that I have syncing issues with the sound being off, video before sound before video, any kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for when I get the little spinny circle,
Buffering.
I get a buffering issue. It's only when I'm watching the Bally app. That's the only time. Every other time that I'm watching MSG, Sun Sports, anything in Canada, Sportsnet, I don't get any issues. It's only when I'm watching Bally's. And it's just, Jesus Christ, how fucking set in the Stone Age are we with this shit?
Something's got to change. The Cardinals are the first team I've heard speak out about blackouts. So we'll see. It's going to be a while, I'm sure. Bobby Hull passed away. The St. Louis Blues have issued a statement on the passing of hockey legend Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull was one of the greatest players in NHL history, from a Stanley Cup, Hart trophies, a dozen All-Star games, and a Hall of Fame induction. His accomplishments on the ice are legendary. Although he was a Blackhawk, Bobby will always hold a special place in our Blues family for the memories we shared with him and Brett. Our entire Blues family extends our condolences to the whole family as they mourn the passing of the Golden Jet. And I'll say this about the passing of Bobby Hull. I feel for his family and friends, which includes Brett Hull, who are mourning the loss of Bobby Hull right now. With that said, I'm not going to put on blinders so I can celebrate hockey at the expense of humanity. That's all I'm going to say.
All that I'll say is R.I.P. Bobby Hull. My condolences to Brett and the rest of the Hull family, and to everyone within the Chicago Blackhawks organization that have been touched by Bobby Hull's passing.
I thought you were going to say a former trainer, but never mind.
Okay.
All I'll say is I have in my case behind me, I do have a Bobby Hull autographed puck that somebody gave me because he was signing autographs at the old sports card shop in the mall at St. Clair Square. And
wow.
And the guy that I worked for went down there and got an autograph from him, gave me the puck. I'm like, oh, that's great. And yeah, so it's back there somewhere. But yeah, not gonna celebrate the man. His great hockey player, terrible human being. It's been said, everywhere, and that's, I think, as much as needs to be said.
Bobby Hull's daughter, Michelle, was interviewed by ESPN, and she confirmed the abusive and racist nature of the stories of Bobby Hull. And when she heard about the Hitler quotes, which everyone's heard, Hitler had some good ideas, she said, that's exactly like him. So, that's his own daughter who knew him personally. So calling him a horrible person. So take that and do with it what you will. NHL All-Star Weekend this Saturday, February 3rd and 4th is in Florida. Skills competition is Friday night, 7 p.m. The game is Saturday at 3 p.m. Bo Horvat was traded on Monday. Traded from Vancouver to the New York Islanders, was going to represent Vancouver at the All-Star game. He'll still represent the Pacific Division, though. He will be he'll be wearing an Islanders jersey for the skills competition, and will have a patch on his Pacific Division All-Star jersey indicating he's an Islander. So it was funny because the NHL was reportedly up in arms over the timing of this trade and wasn't sure how to handle the All-Star game implications at first.
If I'm the Canucks, you know what I say? Fuck off. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. We're making a hockey trade here. I don't care about the All-Star game.
They have Pettersson going. It's not like Horvat was the only guy going, right? Pettersson's going.
Right.
So, I mean, they have representative. They don't need, who cares?
The All-Star game is a gong show, which is fine. Bill and I talked about it last week. I enjoy the competition. I turn on the game, but I don't really watch it. It's kind of in the background while I'm doing something else. But, for them to be upset about that, and the thing, and how about the hypocrisy with this? And I know it's a completely different situation, but John Scott, right? The NHL basically orchestrated a trade. Was it with Arizona? So that he didn't go to the All-Star game? Trade him now so that we can say he's not part of the All-Star game. Now they're like, wait a minute, you're making a trade before the All-Star game with an All-Star? How dare you? And it's fuck off, NHL. Like,
well, John Scott participated still.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't want him to. They tried to stop him.
Backlash, right?
Yeah, fan backlash,
yeah.
Fan backlash and even player backlash. From what I understand, there was even players saying, I'm not going to go if you don't let John go. Like,
didn't Wyshynski?
He was voted in.
Wyshynski helped instigate that whole thing, didn't he, with the getting John Scott voted in the first place?
Yeah.
I thought so.
I think it was him and Merrick. I think
Okay.
they were
Back
the
when
thing at the
Wyshynski
time.
wasn't a complete tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I get them not like you can't flop teams. The only way that I see them kind of making a change here is if a player in the Metro goes down and they can say, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put Horvat on this team, and then we can have somebody else from the Pacific fill in Horvat's spot. That's the way I see this working. In any other way, this makes sense to me. A lot of people are pissed about it. I don't fucking care. Again, it's the All-Star game. Who cares? These
Yeah.
guys are out there to
Yeah.
have fun. They're going to be out there just doing stupid shit, making us all entertained. I don't care what teams they're on. This is fun. Who cares?
Report is the NHL US TV ratings dropped 22% on ESPN and TNT. The National Hockey League's viewership on they say it fell 22%, but that includes. Okay, so this is a complicated thing where the headline reads that the NHL TV ratings have fallen drastically since moving to ESPN and TNT. But total minutes for the NHL on ESPN's website and app have actually increased 29% year over year, with page views also up by 38%. The network's social media engagements covering the league has increased by 224% year over year as well. So, and I think that this year, ESPN and TNT are doing weekend games. NBCSN last year didn't do weekend games. So the weekday games are actually up 29% as opposed to the numbers last year. And the weekend games are getting slaughtered. So that's the difference. Weekend games, NHL, getting slaughtered by college football, NFL, other things going on. People don't watch so much TV on the weekends, whatever. And that's bringing the overall numbers down. So I think I saw that and I was like, really, man, that's rough. ESPN and TNT taking a hit. I thought, wait a second. Not really. That's not really quite true.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you just from the three people on this panel, I've had some more trouble this season watching Saturday, even day or night games for me. Like, there's a lot of times, I mean, especially wasn't really a lockdown at that point, but like 2021, when we weren't still really doing anything, I'd turn on, if there was a 2:00 game, I'd look at, 9:00 and say, ooh, there's an afternoon game on. Ooh, there's another game on at 5. Ooh, there's another game on at 7, and I would just literally sit there all day and just watch hockey. This past season, it's been hard to do that. We've been just busier. And so I've even missed the game on Saturday. I had to watch it on the app later, the Blues and Avalanche, because I had stuff going on all day Saturday. So, yeah, I think that is definitely part of it, Kurt. I know for me, I don't watch as much hockey on the weekends like I used to. Life just gets in the way. So when you're broadcasting more national games over the weekends, your viewership's going to drop.
Yeah, back in the day of the NHL Center Ice package, Hockey Day in Canada was a thing for me. I literally made no plans and sat around and watched hockey from puck drop in Ottawa at 11 a.m. until the game in Vancouver was over after midnight. That was a thing for me. I was younger, had a hell of a lot less responsibility, and had that time. But it was, for me, that was a great Saturday. Now, like afternoon this weekend, I was like, I was working and I'm like, what am I gonna watch? I can put something on while I'm working. I picked college basketball, and only because Providence was playing, and I always try to catch a couple of their games down the stretch. There was no hockey on at that time. I was surprised. So,
yeah, I mean, I okay. So, and I don't. Some people like to rip on the networks. It always happens. Doesn't matter who's broadcasting, the national hockey games, was NBCSN or ESPN or TNT or, Versus or whatever. People hate on it. It seems like a lot of people, doesn't matter where they are. There's a problem with the network for some reason. They don't like it. Problem with the coverage, whatever. It sucks. I have never in my life cared that much. I'm like, I just appreciate games being on TV. Honestly, if it's on ESPN, yeah, I'll have my gripes about this or that, or if I don't like this announcer or whatever. But do I hate the network? I don't think I ever have. Even when it was on Versus, thank God it's on somewhere. I get Versus, I can watch the games. Great, I don't care. And I come from. I remember when only half to 2/3 of Blues games were on TV at all.
Right.
You missed a third of the games during the season because they simply weren't on TV at all. So I appreciate game. You can watch ESPN Plus. You can watch almost every single game. And I like that's I don't care about the broadcast. I don't care about the quality of it necessarily. I love the fact that this is on TV.
Right. I will say I have a fairly strong opinion, that I hated how formulaic, and I hate how formulaic the Blues broadcast is. Same stuff, same segment, right? Talking, it's Alexa Datt and Bernie Federico or Jamie Rivers, and Jeff's got to drop a deuce.
Well, we're gonna sign off in a minute.
He's gonna miss the big ending. But I hate when shows are over formulaic, and I think TNT has a great product from having the right people with good chemistry in the room. Right? I
do enjoy TNT's panel. Yeah, they're fun to listen to.
Yeah, their panel's good, and when they sub Lundqvist in, he's great. When he's not there, when Gretzky's on there, it's great, right? But when it was NBCSN and Versus before that, and OLN before that,
yeah,
it was so formulaic. You knew every week you were going to see Keith Jones. And Ed Olczyk was going to broadcast one of the games, and it was so repetitive and so overdone. I love what TNT's brought, but that said, if we didn't do a show on Wednesday night, I don't know how often I would tune them in, right? And when I've got it on, I'm not listening to the panel.
Yeah, I like I said, I have my preferences on networks and things, obviously, broadcasters and how they do things. That's fine. But in the end, I'm just glad it's on TV. I'll put it on, leave it on. And that's, I just love the fact that I can watch any hockey game I want and just stream it, watch it on TV, whatever. So I'm not going to, I'm not one of those guys that just rips a network mercilessly because even back, it's funny because Gary Thorne now is like, people want him back so bad. It's like a movement. Oh, I love Gary Thorne's calls. But at the time Gary Thorne was on ESPN, people ripped on Gary Thorne all the time. Yeah. And I liked
get players right.
Well, I've always liked Gary Thorne, but I'm saying that, it's just so funny how things work. If hockey was not on TV like it is now, like ESPN, TNT are broadcasting more games than NBCSN ever did. And but if they cut the amount of games, then people be complaining more games were on TV. I always thought the networks that broadcast games should do more hockey programming besides games.
Oh, 100%.
That's my gripe. I'd like to see them do more. I'd like to see them do like a daily hour. They do some of it, but it just seems like it's not enough. It seems like it's just I can never catch it.
NHL Tonight.
Yes.
Right?
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe they didn't bring that back. When they fucking, and I know most of their games now are on ESPN, like one, I guess, but I really thought, I'm like, this is a no-brainer. They're going to bring back NHL Tonight. And the fact that they didn't, I'm like,
Yeah.
What? I mean, what else are you showing? And I'm maybe I'm actually asking here, what else are they showing at like 10 o'clock on ESPN2 every night? Like, you're telling me you don't think
lawnmower racing?
Maybe that's NHL Network stepping in and saying, we've got this on the fly thing going. Can you not do that? But to me, if I'm NHL Network, that's my back seat. If I'm the NHL Network is, hey, tune in. We'll always have something going on that's hockey. But for me, it's like the prime shit belongs on ESPN and TNT.
Yeah,
and I am all for, if you
agree.
want to consider it competition of what other networks are doing, fine. But for me, if I'm NHL, I'm like, and everything that comes in the NHL Tonight or NHL Network is backseat to what our networks that are producing our games.
I agree.
That takes a backseat.
I agree. NHL Network, as far as I'm concerned, the NHL Network shouldn't be assuming it's completely owned and controlled by the NHL. I don't think that necessarily is a program, is a station that needs to turn a profit. I think that's just NHL programming that they put out there to have out there. And if it makes a profit, bonus. You're going to get most of your views on ESPN. So you've got to have that be your bread and butter for NHL content.
Because let's face it, man, I'm not going to lie to you. And, I'm not watching, but that's not what they care about. They care if it's on your TV. There's been times where I'll be watching something on ESPN, let's say, like a hockey game. And then I'll start doing something else. And 2 hours later, I look up and I'm like, oh, they're talking about the NBA. I didn't even realize I had this on. And the NHL, that's bonus for you, because I'll look up and be like, oh, I got the NBA on. Fine, whatever. I'll leave it on. I'll watch a little bit. Maybe I'm a little interested in what's going on. What did LeBron do tonight? Like, maybe there's a little bit of that in me. But you got to hope it's the same thing for a basketball fan that looks up, oh, shit, they got an NHL show on right now? Oh, well, I'll just leave it on. That's going to get you more viewers than some, because nobody who's not a hockey fan is not going to NHL Network.
Whatever happened to Stephen A. Smith promoting the NHL too? That was a thing before the season started, right? He was talking hockey, criticizing hockey.
Connor McDavid needs to be able to lead his team better because without this whole sport is about 5 players, right?
Well, he would use NBA teams as an example, like one player can carry an entire team to a championship.
Right.
And I'm like, that's the
doesn't
NBA,
work
that's
that way in
different.
hockey.
No, it doesn't work, not at all.
Yeah, when you have one guy out there for the whole game and then only runs 4 minutes of the night, okay.
He's the greatest player in the world. He should have a championship by now. Like, it's not that simple, dude.
There's also 17 other guys on the rink with him.
Jesus.
Including Jesse Puljajarvi.
Yes.
Future Blue, Jesse Puljajarvi.
Yeah, no, I will say that it pleasant experience tonight being able to put on an NHL Network and see Connor Bedard live, right, in his final year of junior, and that third period was amazing. It was 3-1 going into the third period, and it wound up a 6-5 overtime win by the Pats.
And I feel like that again, emphasizes the point I made earlier that that's what your NHL Network is for. Let's broadcast AHL games. Let's broadcast junior games. Let's late at night, let's broadcast some fucking beer league games. Who cares?
Right.
That's your secondary content. And again, maybe I might be completely off base here. Maybe that's not part of the issue, but I do feel like that the NHL's like, we don't need these highlight shows anywhere else. We've got it on NHL Network because that's kind of the way they run things. And it's like, that's not how it should be.
Do they air the Frozen Four? Do they air the Minnesota High School State Hockey Tournament? I mean, they could tap into. I mean, I'm sure the Minnesota High School
ESPN did part of the Minnesota tournament last year.
Okay, because that's that's massive,
right?
So if someone else is broadcasting it locally in the state, like the local regional sports network, whatever. I don't know. Broadcast to the rest of the country and block out ESPN in Minnesota.
Yeah.
As far as like, I don't know.
I just feel like NHL Network is a great spot to basically that is your promotion of hockey.
Right.
That's your promotion of all hockey.
And it doesn't need to take a profit. It shouldn't be in competition. It's just constantly running the background promoting hockey. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. How great would it be though? Going back to Jeff's idea, right? Broadcast beer league. Have 1 or 2 nights a week where they had it and they called it Senior A whale shit hockey. That would be the best. And teams could clamor for that. And you can get in sweepstakes to get your team broadcast on that. It'd be amazing.
That'd be cool.
Dude,
I think the NHL could totally do that.
You know how awesome it was? We played rinky dink floor hockey on an indoor soccer court, and our standings and game results were in the Belleville News Democrat. Or no, it was the Suburban Journal. I think it was.
Oh, nice.
Every week. That was awesome. That was cool. And that was just that was cool.
I love that there's a team that plays in my league, the H&A Hockey North America. It's the beer, the whale shit hockey that I play in. And there's a team in my division, the Lumber Hacks. They actually set up cameras on both ends of the rink, and then they post the game the next day to where, I mean, it's not, it's good footage, but it's not like NHL broadcast quality, but it's kind of fun to like look back and be like, oh man, beer league hockey, as bad as this is, it's still hockey. I could sit here and watch this whole game and be happy.
At Oak Hill, Bill, remember when they used to tape the games and play them afterwards in the bar upstairs?
Yep.
You could go watch your game in the bar upstairs after your game was over. That was pretty fun.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
All right. We're going to shut her down. Anything else you want to add? Anyone? Bobby Hull love? Yeah.
Nah.
No?
We're good.
Okay.
No love for the Golden Jet?
No, unfortunately not.
You don't want to get hung over a balcony?
Oh, okay.
Or beaten with a steel-toed shoe? No? Okay.
We're hitting new places here. I don't think I like it. I'll add one more thing, Kurt, is that I do have, as I told you guys, I do have an idea for our summer series. So I might share that. I'll wait till share the idea next week. But I will say, for those that may not know, maybe you picked up the show this year during this terrible Blues season. We do broadcast year-round, so there is an episode every single week. I think we've missed 1 week in 5 years now, which is crazy. And so, yeah, if you're starved for hockey coverage, even after the Blues don't make the playoffs or ousted out of the playoffs, and you're still wanting some type of Blues talk, that will still be happening all year round. So
I think we do average slightly more than one show a week, just because of playoffs. We occasionally do a couple shows a week. So
yeah, that's true.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. We will not be
rough
doing
this year.
As I said, we will not be doing it's putting a lot on my plate for summer series because we'll be wrapping up a lot sooner than we normally do. But no, we will not be doing 2 shows a week over the playoffs this year.
Probably not. No, not unless
safe to say.
Not unless the Blues rattle off 15 straight.
It would be fun to post 2 episodes a week, and one episode is literally just, well, you guys got anything?
Nope.
Nah. All right, let's wrap her up.
All right, looking forward to that. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com, and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Visit strikewithmike.com today for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's strikewithmike.com. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Center Ice Brewery Beer. Please drink responsibly. That'll wrap up episode 19 of season 11 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
And one quick last comment from Matthew Carpenter on Facebook. At the end of the season approaches, and definitely in the offseason, can we get some draft talk? If you have access to any legit sources, yes, you will get some of that. So definitely stay prepared for that. Let's go Blues. Thanks for listening.
Let's go St. Louis City SC.
Woo.
1 week. One week baby.
Away. February 8th,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Sport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available. A look at fourth. I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more.